They're not going to come in with a gun to your head and say, hey,
Yeah.
we're taking your house.
Yeah.
What they're going to do is they're going to inflate you out of it. Because you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't make my payments anymore. I'm going to sell and go rent.
Exactly.
So that video we just listened to where he's explaining how inflation at 2% has been what a lot of people think the Fed, who's the Federal Reserve, which is in charge of the money supply, essentially, it's what they found that they can basically print money at that rate or inflate costs and prices at that rate without people knowing about it, without them getting upset, without them rioting, without them really noticing that their wealth is being stolen.
Yeah, and for a little bit more context, he's speaking with respect to the Federal Reserve in the U.S., but he also mentions that this is the same concept for all
Bank of
reserve
Canada.
banks.
Yeah, they all know.
Yeah.
Hey, if you start siphoning people's wealth at 3%, that means this all happens like at the back end through money creation.
Yeah.
And that inflates price and all that stuff. So they found like 2% is the sweet spot. Hey, we can keep this bubble growing at 2% a year. The middle class and poor won't notice that they are not getting ahead in this world.
Yeah.
They're actually falling behind, right? They're always one paycheck away from insolvency. They're all, if they don't get paid for a month, their the credit cards go unpaid. Like the system falls apart basically. Yeah. At the same time, though, the rich get richer and richer because that money starts at the low end and it filters its way to the top. So the rich continue to get richer. That's why the wealth gap continues to grow.
And we own assets. We own assets that appreciate.
It benefits
during
people that
especially times of high inflation.
Yes.
Yeah.
But normal inflation, it benefits you as well, just at a less perceptible rate. Yeah. Now, COVID made this obvious, but most people are still so blind that they won't understand that this is the game. 2% inflation is the target, and they asked Jerome Powell this, why 2%? There is no why. He says this is the agreed upon rate of all central banks. And then somebody
there was
asked
no
him,
scientific reason why 2% even exists. And really the only reason why is because, like you said, it's the rate that people don't realize that their money is getting siphoned out of their wealth, really.
100%. Out of their savings, right? You
Yeah,
try
out
to
of their
save,
savings,
you're always
whatever.
falling apart. Why are you always falling behind? Because your money is weakening at 2% a year,
for sure.
minimum. It's probably way more than that.
Yeah. Well, the average over 50 years is almost 4. So
yeah, and the money supply increase is actually around 7. So again, core inflation is easily reproduced goods. They try to use the easily replaceable goods as their benchmark for core inflation. But the stuff that middle class people really want, the nice cars, the BMWs, the Ferraris, the trips, the vacations, the jets.
Middle class buying Ferraris?
You know what I mean, right? That they aspire to, right? If I just save up for a decade, maybe I can afford a Ferrari. No, you can't, because they'll out-inflate you.
Yeah.
So while core inflation's at 2%, those high-value goods that are in low supply are going up 7%. That's why the middle class can never get ahead.
Yeah.
Because the dollar's weakening. It's not that the prices are going up. It's that your money, because they're printing so much more money, it's making the value of the money that's in your savings less valuable. You need more of it to buy whatever. Now, at 2%, you don't notice.
Yeah.
But you will always be stuck in the middle class. You can't save your way out of the middle class.
I actually do like his analogy about the way to steal gas from your neighbors is to siphon out a gallon or two per night because it's too little for them to realize what's happening. It's exactly what is happening.
If you fill
here.
your car up yesterday, you get in your car, you're like, I'm at a half a tank. Frick, I got to install a camera. Somebody's siphoning my gas.
Yeah.
You do it at a gallon or two every couple days, I'm not going to notice.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect analogy that he uses.
Exactly.
But Jerome Powell's response is brilliant, which is, 2% is the agreed upon rate from all central banks. But the key to what this commentator was saying, I don't know his name, but he was saying, like, they've been pushing this agenda, it seems, that the actual new rate of inflation is going to be 3%. And they're going to adjust it higher because the game has been ruined.
I feel like there's too much... it's too visible now, right? It's too visible. There's social media. The world is smaller. People can communicate amongst each other. There's no hiding it anymore. So I think I don't think it's ever been 2%, right? They'll get down to 2%, and then once it hits 2%, then it's back up, right? Just like, how do you get 4% as the average over 50 years?
You got to
right?
remember,
that's how.
It's core inflation. They can manipulate the basket.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I agree. But they're going to start, in this guy's opinion, I'm starting to see it too, is the new 2% will be 3% now. Now, this is important because you can't get ahead if the inflation rate's 2%. Think of how much further you're going to fall behind if it's 3%, and think about how much further you're going to get ahead if you actually understand the game and own inflation resistant assets or assets that benefit from inflation. You're going to get even richer even quicker, theoretically.
Yeah.
So we'll start to see and start to pay attention if you start to see a narrative in the media, mainstream, right? As soon as they start talking about stuff.
If the main goal is to, again, own nothing and be happy, this might be the catalyst for it.
Honestly, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, they're not going to come
Inflation may very well be the catalyst.
It's not the catalyst, it's how they do it.
Well, there you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to come in and put a gun to your head and say, we're taking your house.
And what I mean is like that this will be the mechanism that they use.
Yeah. They're not going to come in with a gun to your head and say, hey, we're taking your house.
Yeah.
What they're going to do is they're going to inflate you out of it. Because you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't make my payments anymore. I'm going to sell and go rent.
Exactly.
You're going to sell. You're going to probably make a bunch of money, a couple $100,000, whatever the case is, right? Everything's up. All these assets are higher. And then you're going to go rent, and you're going to have your couple $100,000 nest egg, and you're going to use that to rent. You're going to have your job, and you're going to own nothing and be happy. And they're going to sell you on this dream. Well, the wealthy people, our prediction, we've been saying this for a while, is, well, I'm just going to own all the houses, right? Or not all of them, but I'm going to own the business. I'm going to own the real estate. You're going to be renting off the very few people that own stuff.
Yeah, for sure.